She ain't ready for prom, but she looks better than a pig with lipstick on. Hi everybody, this is Matt with Rural Iowa and welcome back. Today we're working on a John Deere 2630 tractor. I believe it's a 1974-ish, and what we're going to be doing is servicing it today. We're going to be doing the hydraulics and the oil. I got filters for those, so we're going to get to it and have you guys follow along. I've looked quite a few times to see if there were any videos for doing any of this, especially with the hydraulics having the bucket on there. Been having some issues with the hydraulics on the bucket, so hopefully changing out the filter and everything will fix that. But let's go ahead and take a look here. This is an older tractor. Again, I've got hydraulic leak coming out of this box out of right here. Not 100% sure how to fix that, but it is still dripping, obviously. But we're going to go ahead and get to work on this. Yeah, we'll start with the hardest one. We'll start with the hydraulic oil, because that's the one I'm most unfamiliar with. Man, it's really bright out here. But dealing with hydraulics I've never been very confident with on this. I've changed the oil on this before, but I've never done the hydraulics. I do know that one of these hoses here is leaking. I'm not sure which one yet. If I had to guess, it was this one. And that's leaking right out of this hose right there. Okay, so the hydraulics that we're working with, it's going to be this right here. This is where your filter location is. I'm going to guess. It'd be nice if you could see. This is where the filter is located. This runs to the loader. That's a stick that has spikes on it. I'm guessing this is our hydraulic fluid drain. Just guessing, or yeah, I'm guessing that's probably it, because I don't see how you can get that done. But this is supposed to just pop off, and hopefully this just drains out, and the oil drain is up in the front. So yeah, pull this, this should pop off. And I think there's a screen in here, if I remember right. I just don't remember how to take it off right now. If you need a catch pan and you're in a pinch and you got kids or dogs, these plastic little cheap pulls work wonders. We'll go ahead and get this pulled off and see what we're working with. You know, this is an old tractor, so expect the worst, hope for the best. Holy cow. She's in there good, folks. Didn't want her coming out. I wish someone hadn't have boogered those up. But we finally got this thing. Oh, can't wait to see what's behind door number one. I got my catch pan here to catch all the hydraulic fluid, but yeah. Let's see what we got. Alright, here we go. Actually, not as dirty as I figured it was going to be, but we haven't gotten to the bottom yet. It's supposed to be 10 gallons in here. Not terrible at all. But also this thing leaks quite a bit, and I've had to add quite a bit of hydraulic fluid to it this year because I didn't run it last year. So I had my skid loader. We'll move on to the filter while that's draining. Oops. And there it came. Wow, check that out. I would say that wasn't running right. If you can see, that filter's pretty plugged up right there. On this side, not so much. On this side, I don't know what this is. If this is a liner from the from hoses or what, but it is clearly clogging up the filter. Not good. Not good at all. I can only imagine if that filter looks like that, what the screen filter is going to look like when we pull that thing off. Oh. Well, need to lube up the parts on this thing. Might as well just dunk it in the hydro oil. And there's our last drain. Looks fairly clean, but I can only imagine what it looks like inside. Oh. Oh. My hands are covered in hydraulic fluid, or I'd bring this camera up to show you, but I'll show you as soon as it quits draining here. If you can see that, that's all stuff coming off of it while I'm trying to pull this out. Oh, doesn't want to come out of there very well. Don't know why I'm having such a problem trying to get it out though. Oh, there it goes. Oh. Oh, and even more stuff's coming out. Check that out. It's not supposed to be covered in junk. This looks like all just dirt and garbage though. I'm not seeing much metal flakes. Your filters that you look at and make sure they look the same. So these two look the same. There's a rubber gasket that goes on the bowl that goes and hooks the filter up in. But they look the same. Look the same top, bottom. That one's considerably lighter than that one. I wonder why. It's not like it's full of filter fiber stuff. But just letting you know, the Napa Gold Filter 1147 is what you'll be needing to change this out. With the screen you just clean out and put back in. But 1147, that's what you need. My plan now is to just clean things up and get ready to put stuff back and fill her back up with hydraulic fluid. Get the bowl cleaned out and all that good stuff. And then find a fun way to get my hydraulic oil out of the kiddie pool. I have a transfer pump, so we'll see how that works. I'm not going to show putting it back on because you see me take it off. I'll get that stuff all put back on and then we'll move to the oil. I did end up taking off this hydraulic hose ends up going back here to this connector right here. I took this connector off because that's where it's been leaking, and I noticed that the ball is just sunk in there. That's not supposed to be that way, so I'm going to take this fitting off, take that hydraulic hose in and get it replaced, and see if I can find a replacement end for this. So maybe then that'll fix my leaking problem, hopefully. I would say the ball not seating like it should. The rest of these are like spring loaded, and this one is just loose. So I'm hoping that's the only issue. So I'm going to take this off, and we'll run the hydraulic hose and the fitting in somewhere and try and get those replaced. It's that piece that I got pulled off. When I pulled it off, it came out in 4 pieces. You can see that came out in 4 pieces. That spring, and then there's that piece of metal there. Yeah, this was no good. So this definitely needed to be replaced. Hopefully can find something. So now that we got this stuff off, we're going to go ahead and drain the oil and take the filter off just so we can get that done. And then once we get all the hoses replaced, we'll make sure and slap it all back together and fill it all back up. I missed the magic happening, but I went ahead and drained the oil out. It's got 3 drain plugs, but obviously do the bottom drain plug if you can do it, because it's the easiest one to drain. Pretty grody, pretty dark. I can't remember when the last time was I changed that oil. For those who want to know, it was an 1 1/8 socket, or 1 1/8 wrench that I used to take that off with. So I'm going to let that drain out, and we'll look up here at the filter, which is going to be a pain. So it looks like the filter was last changed 8/28/16. So that's been a minute. Got my filter wrench here. Gonna turn it the correct direction. I don't expect too much oil to come out of this, but just in case it does. And none came out. Good. Good deal. This is a Wix filter 52143. I have the Napa filter, which is a 2143, I believe. Correction, it's a 1243. This is a 51243. This is just a 1243. These are the same number for the skid loaders it is for the tractor, so that's really handy. Grab some oil and get that gasket lubed up. Check our surface and make sure that's... Check our surface and make sure that's not all goofed up. Looks good. Okay. Okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and start filling it with oil. We got the oil filler caps right here. And we're going to be putting Torque Guard 15W40 Rotella. We're going to be putting this in there. So, let's start to fill. And check the oil and make sure we don't overfill it. Got the Rotella 15W40. Not sure what the fluid capacity is. Well, it's not touching the dipstick yet, so we got a ways. We're on the board, but we're still not touching half. I'm gonna bet it's gonna be 2 gallons, but better safe than sorry. We're just at the add. And we're perfect. 2 gallons. Alright, now it's time to move to the hydraulic fluid. We have a couple of fittings here and a hose that we need to get put on. This hose was blown from the front end loader to the hydraulic connection in the back. So we're going to go ahead and put these back on. Once we get that done, we can start putting the guards covers back on, and we can start putting fluid in it. Got a new fitting. Hopefully this will solve my leaking hydraulic oil issue. Okay, now I just got to run it up to the front. This is one thing I found to dislike about this tractor, that the fill up for the hydraulic fluid is right here. It's a very inconvenient place to have a filler. Again, we got our Harvest King hydraulic oil, and we're just gonna dump this whole thing in and check the dipstick after we do that. Check the level and see where we're at. Like we are getting there. Yeah, we're within the middle of the operating fill range. I'm gonna button things up and move stuff out of the way, and we're gonna start this puppy. We've changed the hydraulic fluid, we've changed the filters, we've changed the oil. The fuel filter I changed probably last year or something, but I'm hoping the hydraulics are gonna be phenomenally better. We'll find out. There'll be some air in the lines, of course, at first, but let's start this thing up and make sure that I did everything right and don't have any awful leaks or anything bad. When I say awful leaks, I mean this thing leaks, so more leaks than what it normally has. Still have our leak after I changed out that fitting. So I don't know if the box needs to be rebuilt. Well, I assume it needs to be rebuilt, especially so this is the fitting that I replaced, and it's still leaking. It's pretty disappointing. I was hoping that was going to solve that issue, but oh well. The 3-point went up and down well, and everything else seems to be doing good on it, running good. And notice anything bad? This emblem is falling down. I'm going to take this front cover off and see if I can figure out how to secure that better. So we got 3 bolts on each side, 2 on the top, and looks like 1 on the bottom. So what happened is this is supposed to be machined. This is aluminum, and the aluminum busted off of the tab. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill some holes. Alright guys, we're back with the John Deere 2630. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be tackling grease. I have not greased this thing in the 9 years that I've used it. We're going to try and find and I'll identify all the grease locations, and we'll see if we can actually get them to take grease. I'm going to go get a wire wheel so we can knock off, because some of these, if you can see right there, have paint on the grease fitting. So I'm going to go grab a wire brush and we will try and knock the stuff off of them so we can hopefully put grease into this stuff, but it'll be an adventure. We'll see what we can accomplish here. There it is. And today I'm using non-sponsored pig wipers to wipe up any excess grease that we have, just so we make sure that we're not causing a mess and throwing grease everywhere, because that's a giant pain in the butt. This one I'm not as excited about because it's right in here. Let's see if I can clear it off and we can get to it. This Zerd is supposed to be greasing a bearing in there, which is taking an awful lot of grease. Next 2 grease points we have is we got one has an access hole right in here to get to this rotation point. Same thing on the other side, so you can hit both sides, hopefully. That's not good. Okay, try again. Oh, it's because it's not taking any grease. It's not dead, it's just so stopped up it can't take any grease. Nope, that one's not taking grease either. Alright, we got some pivot points down here. This big knuckle right here that turns the wheels has a grease fitting, so we'll try and put some grease in that. There we go. Good and greased. Those don't have greasers, those don't have greasers, this doesn't have a greaser that I can find. Okay. This right here. Gosh. There's a greaser right here. Go ahead and hit that. Maybe. And grease. See if there's one up here. Yeah, there's one up here for this cylinder. And that's greased. assume there's grease points down here, but I don't see them off the top of. We'll have to lift the bucket up, but there's at least one grease fitting on the bucket. But we'll move to the other side and do the other grease points that we can get to. Okay, again, we got one. Okay, there's no greasable fitting on this. Well, there used to be, but it's gone. Someone's busted it off. And there's a greasable fitting on the end of this one. And then we got a greasable fitting right here. That grease fitting is facing up this way, so I can't even get to it, and that grease fitting I can't get to either, because that one's busted off. And this grease fitting up here I can't do. Sit. Good girl. Well, she ain't ready for prom, but she looks better than a pig with lipstick on. So we still have a leak in the back hydraulic connection, I think. I was just looking at it when I was running while I was washing it. I didn't see it leaking, but that doesn't mean it isn't leaking still. Haven't really tested out the might of the hydraulics on this yet, so hoping that with replacing that filter that was super clogged, that this thing will lift things a lot easier and move a lot easier. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Really glad I washed it up a little bit. It needed it. Hadn't washed it for a long time. Looks good. Hopefully this tractor will last me a long time. I'd say it's not parade ready, but looks a lot better than it did. Not sure what else I plan on doing to this thing, but if I do anything, I'll let you know. This is a John Deere 2630. I think it's a 1974 or 75. And I don't see very many videos on YouTube regarding this, so figured I'd take you along, show you what I did, and hopefully it's informative, hopefully it's entertaining. Somebody that owned a 2630 back in the day, at least they can see that these are still being used. And I'm going to be taking this thing with the brush hog and going to be mowing a field here probably in the next couple days, and I'll take you along with me on that in a video. And but thank you so much for watching. Make sure and like and subscribe so you can follow along for some more vehicle content. I got a side-by-side I'm going to be working on here pretty soon, and I'll be getting the boat out here really soon because I need to get it going. We got a trip coming up and I need to get a trolling motor put on it and do some other things. So thank you again, and Mabel and I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.